So, last class we were discussing about the main attributes of the instruction set architecture. The first one is the addressing mode, second is the instruction set, and we covered the addressing modes, different types of addressing modes, and I gave some of the examples. Similarly, you can see in the instruction set which instructions fall in which addressing modes. That is very important. Okay. So, next one is the instruction set. So, there are five fundamental group of instructions. The first one is so the entire set of instructions which are available in 8085 are categorized into 5 different types. The first one is the data transfer group, second one is the arithmetic group, third is logical group, fourth is branch control group, and fifth is IO and machine control group. Okay. So, in the data transfer group, as the name specifies, we will be transferring the data from somewhere to somewhere. There is a source and destination associated with the this set of instructions. Example, and what are the entities where the data can be transferred? Where we can transfer the data in a microcomputer system. So, there are 3 entities, one is IO, another is memory, and another is microprocessor. So, only if the data will be transferred from one unit to another unit, and those units are one out of this, is not it? Is there anything else? Data transfer means what? Either you are transferring the data from IO device to memory, or memory to IO devices, or IO to microprocessor, or microprocessor to IO. So, we should have some instructions, because to enable the data transfer among these devices, we should have some instructions. So, microprocessor means, can I say the register? Because whenever we write an instruction, there is no way directly to specify the microprocessor in the instruction. Is there any way? No. Therefore, registers. So, as far as the instruction set architecture is concerned, so instead of telling microprocessor, I will tell the registers. So, now registers, memory, and instead of telling IO, I will just tell ports and buffers. These are the entities where the data will be transferred. Again, in 8085, there is no direct provision to transfer the data from memory to IO or IO to memory. Any data transfer is to take place, it has to be routed via registers. That means, there are some set of instructions which will transfer the data IO to registers and register to IO, and another set of instructions which will allow us to transfer the data from register to memory and memory to register. So, if you have these 4 types of data transfer instructions, I think between any pair of, with the help of multiple instructions, we will be able to transfer the data even between IO and memory. So, what are those group of instructions? Okay. So, let us see first the data transfer group. So, number 1 is the data transfer. Or you can say that data transfer groups again further divided into 4 subgroups. So, between registers and register pairs, example, move A comma B. So, this is because both the operands are registers here. We are transferring the data from one register to another register, B to A. Similarly, XCHG, exchange. What is the meaning of this? We are transferring the data between register pairs, and which register pairs? HL with D. Yes. Okay, we shall use the content of register, you can write within the square bracket, and square bracket is our conventional notation. Whenever you write the square bracket, you will understand that you are referring to the content of that register pairs. Is it okay? So, here HL and D content will be exchanged, means the D content will be copied to HL and HL register pair contents will be transferred to D. So, this is called register pair, the data transfer between two pair of registers. Then second group is data to register, LXI H2050H. What is the meaning of this? So, 20 will be stored in H and 50 is stored in L. You are transferring the data which is present in the instruction to a register pair. This is a register pair. Similarly, we can give another example, move immediate A32H. It is only 8-bit register. Is it okay? I think last class I have also given this example, LDA 2050H. See, there is a difference between this 2050 and this 2050. Here 2050 is the data in LXIH 2050, a 16-bit data, but in this instruction LDA 2050 means it is a memory location address where some contents are there and that will be made available in the accumulator. So, LDA 2050 is the address. So, either memory location address or you can specify the immediate data 16-bit data in the instruction. Then between memory location and register, LHLD 2050. Here also the meaning of 2050 is different. You have to understand how 2050 is having different meanings in the instructions by seeing the opcodes. So, assume that 2050 is a memory location which is having a content XX, which is of 8 bits, and 2051 is another memory location, its content is Y at YY. When you execute this instruction LHLD 2050 content will be loaded into where? L or H. First it will be loaded into L, then 2051 content will be loaded into H. Or in other words, after executing this instruction 2050 will contain L will contain 2050, L will contain XX and H will contain YY. That is the meaning of this instruction. Here also we are transferring the data, but we are accessing two different consecutive locations, 2050 and 2051, where you have to mention only 2050. That automatically or by default it is understood that we are referring two locations, 2050 and 2051, and which will be loaded into the register pair HL. Now, HL is loaded with 2050 content and 2051 content, not 2050, because 2050 is 16-bit address or data. It cannot be loaded into an 8-bit register. So, it is content will be loaded. So, we can say load HL register pair with the memory locations content whose address is 2050 and 2051. This is how we understand how LHLD is different from LDA and from LXI. Okay. Then last one, between devices and accumulator, and this also I have given example in 01H. Here 01 is not the data, it is an input device address, and the device has some data in its buffer that will be loaded into the accumulator. So, in 01H accumulator will be loaded with a data from a device whose address is present in the instruction, that is 01. Similarly, out 02H. What is the meaning of this? The content of accumulator will be made available in a device. For example, 02 is a display device. So, content of accumulator will be displayed on the screen and which address is 02H. But when you write move immediate A25H, here 25 is the data, but here 01 and 02 is not the data, it is an 8-bit address. Is it clear? So, this is again if you see, there will be large number of instructions which will be falling under each of these categories. So, the next group of instruction is arithmetic group. So, under the again we can further subdivide the arithmetic group into 4 groups, 4 subgroups. One is addition, second is subtraction, and third is increment, and fourth is decrement. And already I have told you there is no multiplication or division or any other arithmetic instructions other than these 4, because 8085 is a simple microprocessor. Okay. So, addition means example add B. So, A content will be added with B content and the result will be stored in A. Similarly, for subtraction, the meaning is that here you will understand like this, the content of B will be always subtracted from A and the result will be stored in A. That means, A minus B will be stored in A. Always you will be subtracting the data from the accumulator, not from any other operand. So, that is the microprocessor designed in such way that always you will be subtracting the data from the, or always you will be subtracting the operand, other operand from the accumulator, and accumulator is implicit. You do not have to mention the accumulator. For any arithmetic or logical operations, accumulator is implicit. Is okay? Then increment. Example, INR B. Suppose B value is 05 in hexadecimal. After execution of this instruction, B content will be 6. Very simple. INX H. Suppose HL pair is containing 0000 in hexadecimal. You will understand 16 bits. After executing this instruction, what will be the value of HL? 0001H. That means H value is not changed. Which value is changed? Only L value is changed. And when the L value will be completely filled up, then it will start updating the value of H. This is how the INS, because sometimes you have to use INSX frequently more than once. So, that means suppose you have used 5 times, so 5 times it will be incremented, right. So, we can say that INX means you will understand that register pair is to be incremented, and simply if you write INR, only register value will be incremented, right. And you should not write INR H. If you write INR H, what will happen? Only H content will be incremented by 1. And similarly, whenever you want to increment a register pair, never mention INR. For register pair, always you have to use INSH. So, in the place of INSH, we can also write INSB. What is the meaning of this? BC content will be incremented by 1. Similarly, INXD, D content will be incremented by 1. Can I write INXSP? Because SP is also register, it is also 16-bit register, but there is no instruction available. So, that is the limitation of microprocessor 8085. So, that is the point you have to know, that which instructions are allowed and which instructions are not allowed, and which operands are allowed and which operands are not allowed. And we do not have a provision to increment the program counter content. We do not have a direct provision to increment the stack pointer content, and we shall see how this program counter and stack pointer can be also incremented with the help of another set of instructions. So, similarly, decrement DCRB, DCXH or DCXB, etc. Or in general, I can say that either you can decrement a single register or you can decrement a register pair. Is it okay? So, this is what the arithmetic group. Then third one is logical group. Again, we subdivide into various subgroups depending upon the availability of the instructions. Complement. So, we divide into 4 subgroups. Under one category, and or exclusive or, all these 3 operations are coming. Example, if I write A N A B, what is the meaning of this? For example, A is containing 0001 1111, that is 1 F H in hexadecimal. Suppose B is containing 11110000, that is F0 in hexadecimal. Now, AND operation will be carried out. So, bitwise you have to AND 1 0 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 0, and this will be the value of A, and 1 0 H. Is it okay? So, bitwise every bit will be ANDed with their corresponding bit in the other operand. So, that is AND operation. Similarly, if I write OR B, what will be the result? 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Is it okay? So, finally, we got FFH. If I take the same data, you can take always the different data, but if I apply the same OR operation with the same data, I will get FFH due to OR operation. Similarly, if I write XRA B, so bitwise it will be exclusive OR. What is the exclusive OR operation? When both the data are same, you will get 1 no or 0. Whenever we get 1 0, what is the exclusive operation? 1 or 0, 1. So, 1 0, 1 1 1 1 1 0 and all other cases 1. Just see what is this value, 8 4 12 plus 2 14, 14 means D, DF. So, we got DFH. Is it clear? So, you have to bitwise exclusive OR. Similarly, you can take any other register and you can take even, suppose if I write XRA, what will be the value of accumulator after executing this instruction? Here accumulator is, once you write XRA, accumulator is implicit by default, but again I am doing the exclusive OR operation over the same accumulator. Here that means both the operands are the accumulator and having the same data. So, what will be the result? Will it be 0 0 H? So, what is the use of this instruction? Whenever you want to clear the accumulator, I can write XRA A. What is the other way to clear the accumulator? I can write move immediate A 0 0 H. Here also the accumulator value will be 0 0. Then what is the difference between XRA A and move immediate A 0 0, or both are same? See, if you see the opcode itself, there is a difference. Here I am using XRA, but here I am using MBI. The difference lies in the status of the flags. Whenever an instruction is executed, after execution not all, some of the flags will be affected, and the moment you write move immediate A 0 0 H, flag status will not be affected. But since it is a logical instruction, the status of the flags will be different. Is it okay? And that you have to identify which flags are affected by which instruction. That is also equally important, right? Similarly, rotate instructions. So, we have two types of rotate instructions, that is rotate RLC, RAL. These two instructions are associated with the rotate left. If you are rotating the content of accumulator towards left 1 bit position, then you can use this instruction. Similarly, we have another two instructions, RRC and RAR. So, RRC rotate accumulator right, rotate accumulator right. Is it okay? So, we have in fact 4 instructions only under which the rotate category. So, one is RLC, RAL, that is responsible for rotating the contents of accumulator left by 1 bit position. And remember, for all these rotate instructions, accumulator is implicitly present by default. Then what is the difference between RLC and RAL? So, here rotate accumulator left, if you write RAL, so each bit position of the accumulator will be shifted left by 1 position, and the leftmost bit position of the accumulator will affect the carry flag, and a carry flag bit will be reflected in the rightmost position of the accumulator. Did you understand? We can say that rotate accumulator left means the accumulator contents will be shifted or rotated left 1 bit position through carry. Is it okay? Through carry means the leftmost bit position will go to the carry flag, because carry flag can accommodate 1 bit, and a carry flag whatever may be the status of during that period. So, that will be stored in the rightmost bit position of the accumulator. Is it okay? Then what is RLC? Only difference is that in RLC, the leftmost bit position will affect the carry flag, and the leftmost bit position bit will be stored in the rightmost bit position directly, but carry flag will not be taken into account. So, how to remember? Wherever C is written, that is you will understand the carry flag will not be taken to the rightmost bit position, and wherever C is not there, that means going through the carry. I think it is not clear. So, let us take an example. First let us take RL. So, here once if we suppose initially the content of accumulator is 3 5H. After execution what will be the content of accumulator? So, according to this instruction each bit will be shifted left by one position. Is it okay? Then what will be the value? So, assume that the previous status of the carry flag is 0. Initially it will be having some value either 0 or 1. Assume that it is 0. Now, this is 0 will occupy this place and this 1 will be here 1 0 1 0 1 1 0 and this carry flag will be again 0. Suppose this is 1 then carry flag will be 1. So, the leftmost bit position which is left that will be transferred to carry flag. So, now what is the value of accumulator? 6 AH. Is it okay? So, this is the effect of RL. Similarly, if I write RLs in that place, what will be the situation? So, this will affect the carry flag. At the same time, the leftmost bit position will be directly present in the rightmost bit position. Actually, the values will vary, but in this example, since it is already 0 is there and carry flag is also 0, the value is not affected. But if you take another example and see the after executing RL and after executing RLC, the values will be different. Is it okay? Similarly, you can take RAR and RRC, the reverse. That means this time the bit positions will be shifted left to right, and RAR means going through the carry and RRC means without going through the carry, but in all the instructions carry flag will be affected. In all these 4 instructions carry flag will be affected. So, this is your the rotate type of instruction. What is the third category? That compare. So, compare means to whom we are comparing, either comparing with a register with a memory or register with a register. For example, if I write compare B, you will understand that we are comparing accumulator with register B. Is it okay? We are comparing content of accumulator with B. So, whenever you compare, what will be the operator you should use? Either A is less than B or A is equal to B or A is greater than B. Only there are 3 possible conditions, right. So, if A equal to B, what will happen? How to know that A is equal to B or not? When you execute this instruction, again all the flags will be affected. So, every comparison operation you will understand that it is basically a subtraction operation. That is, we are subtracting B from A and storing the result in, not storing the result, the results will not be affected. The subtraction will take place unless a subtraction instruction. In subtraction instruction, the result is stored in the accumulator, but here no result will be stored nowhere, but subtraction will take place. And after subtraction, if the suppose the content of A and B both are same, so the value will become how much? 0. So, 0 flag will be set to 1, and if I check jump on 0, that means my accumulator my condition value is 1, that means 0 flag is set, and from this condition can be used jump on 0 to a memory location address or to do some other task. Okay. Similarly, if how to know A is less than B, which flag will be affected? Sign flag, because A is less than B, you are subtracting a bigger number from a smaller number. So, carry flag will be also affected, but that is treated as the borrow. As I told you, we do not have any borrow flag available in 8085. The carry and borrow both will serve the same purpose, right. So, B minus A, so borrow flag will be set to 1. So, which instruction is we are likely to use? Jump on carry and jump on no carry. Jump on 0, jump on not 0, jump on positive, jump on negative, minus, JM and JP. Okay. If A greater than B, what will happen? Which flag will be affected? Again sign flag will be affected, and it will indicate that sign flag will be 0 because the result is positive. Result will be observed, but it will nowhere it will be stored. So, if it is positive, then jump on positive, you do some task. We will see when you write the program, you can understand how these flags will be extensively used and to know the status of the results of the various operands, the instructions which are executed previous to this. Okay. So, anyway, so example compare B, you will understand that B content is subtracted from A, and depending upon the status of the flags, we can take we can use the jump instruction or conditional instructions. Okay. So, second last one is the complement. What is complement? Example CMA, complement accumulator. Whatever there in the accumulator, the zeros will be changed to 1 and 1s will be changed to 0. Is it very simple, but complement is coming under the arithmetic and logic instruction. So, can we say like this, that under the arithmetic and logic operation, under the logic operation, there is one operation called comparison, where the relational operators are also taken care of, is not it? Less than, equal to, no, we do not have any instruction to take care less than equal to at a time. We have instruction A less than B, A equal to B, A greater than B. Or you can say if it is not A less than B, then it must be greater than or equal to B. Like that we have to interpret. Okay. And if A is not equal to B, you will understand either A is less than B or A is greater than B. So, this is the third category of the instructions. So, next is branch control group, and this is the most vital one, where the lot of confusions are there, and you have to use these instructions judiciously. Here there is a what you call challenge, that if you do not use it properly, it may lead to more number of instructions. So, if you write jump on 0, in the place of jump on 0, if you write jump on not 0, probably you have to take care of, you have to use more number of instructions. So, therefore, what are the branch control instructions available, that you have to see. The simplest branch control instruction is called jump a memory location address. Here you can specify any 16 bit memory location address, and this we call unconditional transfer of control, or this instruction is responsible for transferring the control of execution without any condition, and this is also most oftenly required. While writing the program, you will see that this instruction also we shall use. Then jump on carry, jump on no carry, jump on 0, jump on not 0, jump on positive, jump on minus, jump on parity even, jump on parity odd, and everywhere the operand is a 16 bit memory address. In all these instructions, always in the right side the 16 bit address is serving as an operand. Okay. Then we also have, and of course, these are all called the conditional instructions. Only jump is the unconditional, and these are the conditional instructions. So, still we have a more number of instructions like call, 16 bit address, everywhere 16 bit address is the operand, and return, restart. They are also coming under the branch control group. What is call? That means you can write a subroutine, the starting address of the subroutine you can mention here. Suppose I have written a program and my subroutine is stored at memory, starting from memory location 3050, then I must write call 3050h. And what would be the last instruction of that subroutine? We can use return, RET. So, that control will come back where? To the next following address. We shall discuss very clearly whenever we go to stack and subroutine, how to implement a subroutine and stack in the physical memory and using set of registers of the microprocessor 8085. Then again these are all unconditional. Similarly, we can have conditional call instructions CC, CNC, CZ, CNZ, CP, CM, CPE, CPO, and everywhere we can use 16 bit address as the operand. Okay. So, CC means what? Call on carry. If the carry flag is set to 1, then I am interested to call a subroutine. If the carry flag is reset, then this instruction will not be executed and we are not going to execute the subroutine. It may, in some application, in some requirements, you will find that if the carry flag is set to 1, you have to execute a subroutine, and if the carry flag is reset, then you have to do some other task, right. So, therefore, they are conditional jump instructions or conditional data transfer instructions. Similarly, call no carry means if the carry is not there, then only you can call a subroutine, otherwise you do not have to call a subroutine. So, call on 0, accordingly you understand. If 0 flag is set to 1, we are calling a subroutine. Jump CNZ means call not 0. If it is not reset, then we are calling it. Then CP colon positive, colon minus, colon plus or positive or colon minus or negative. Okay, in some microprocessor they take CN colon minus negative. So, here you have to exclusively, as I told you, for us syntax and semantics both are important. So, you have to use exclusive the way I am writing here, the same opcode should be reflected everywhere, otherwise there will be a problem in executing your program or writing a program and executing on the kit. So, anyway, so CP, that is colon parity even and another is colon parity odd. Okay. And when the parity flag will be set to 1, the number of ones including the parity bit, if the result is odd, then this parity flag will be taken into account, and if the parity flag is set to 1, then we will be calling the corresponding subroutine. That you will understand, as I told you, if you solve a number of problems and so that each and every instructions of 8085 is used in your program. So, by practice only you can know what is the use of these instructions. So, okay. And another thing, important thing here, that these instructions are associated with the subroutines and also interrupts. So, for servicing the interrupt, whenever interrupt comes to the microprocessor, we need to execute a subroutine, and that subroutine is called interrupt service routine. And in operating system terminology, most often we call it as a system call. So, interrupt service routine is just like a subroutine, but it is system defined. It is already defined by the microprocessor system, but subroutine is the subroutine which is used by the programmers. Okay. Okay. Anyway, we shall see the three important things here: stack, subroutine, and interrupts. These three, how they are, what is the meaning of this stack, what is the meaning of subroutine, what is the meaning of interrupt service routine, and how they are implemented physically in microprocessor 8085. The two issues are very, very important: the definition of each of this, and whatever you have studied in data structure, time being, you just ignore that, because here exactly you have to mention what is the top of the stack. So, there you can take top of the stack a variable, but here it is not a variable, it is a memory location address. Whether it is you are taking a subroutine or interrupt, and always you have to take a physical address from a memory location which will serve as the top of the stack, right. Or in other words, the program counter and stack pointer, they are the two 16 bit registers, will be extensively useful for implementing the stack, subroutine and interrupts. And some of the interrupt service routines are user defined, where you can write your own ISR, and some of the interrupt service routines are system defined, that we cannot change. Now, we have to identify which interrupts are system interrupts and which interrupts are can be written by the programmer. And I think in the previous class I have told you there is a interrupt called trap, which is given the highest priority. So, that is a system defined interrupt, and its interrupt service routine is stored in a specific location, and that address is clearly mentioned in the manual, that we cannot change. Unless you change, unless you store that interrupt service routine in the desired location, trap will not function. Okay. So, if you take RST0, RST1, etc., like this we have 8 software interrupts which can be written by the programmers. The interrupt service routines can be written by the programmer, and you can store at a desired location as per your choice, right. So, the meaning is that there are some interrupt service routines are system defined and their starting address is always specific and available in the manual, and there are some starting address the programmer can use which is referring to the software interrupts or programmer software interrupts, or they are the user defined interrupts, right. So, there are some interrupts are directly available on the 8085 and some interrupts are program available with the help of a peripheral chip. I think already I have told you 8259 programmable interrupt controller which supports 8 interrupt as the minimum requirement, but if you need further interrupts we can have a number of 8259s. They can be cascaded and they can be joined and can be connected to microprocessor 8085. And how they are cascaded we shall see whenever we go to the PIC. So, in fact, you can go for 8 different 8259s. They can be connected to microprocessor 8085. So, last one is the stack, IO and machine control group. So, under this let us take first IO. So, under the IO in 00H, out 01H, which already I have explained to you, is not it? In 00H and out 01H. So, these are coming under the IO instructions because they involve input and output devices. Then second one is stack instructions. What is stack instructions? So, how many operations are possible? Push and pop. They are the only two operations possible in a stack. So, push B means B content will be pushed into the memory location whose address is SP minus 1, and C content will be transferred to SP minus 2 and SP minus 2 will be transferred to SP. This is the top of the stack or current value of the stack. And what is a stack? Stack is nothing but set of memory locations which suppose initially the stack is empty. So, this location let us take 2050. So, it will be the top of the stack is 2050, and when you insert an element, stack pointer will be incremented or decremented. Stack pointer will be incremented or decremented. This depends upon whether starting address you are taking at the top, that is all zeros and ended with FFH, or I can also write FFH and 00. If the addresses are increasing from bottom to top, then stack pointer must be incremented, and if the addresses are increasing from top to bottom, stack pointer must be decremented, is not it? All Intel series of microprocessors assign their addresses to the memory irrespective of the RAM, ROM, EEPROM, whatever it may be, always from top to bottom. Therefore, stack pointer is decremented by, when the stack grows from bottom to top, the stack pointer will be decremented by 1, and after decrementing the top of the stack is changed, you can push another element, right. So, this is what the push operation. Similarly, the pop operation is the reverse. What is the pop operation? You are taking the data from the stack and storing in a register. In push operation, the data is available in a BC and BC content you are pushing into the stack, and pop B means you are retrieving the data from the stack and loading into BC, right. So, we shall see which is first loaded, whether C content or B content, and if the C content is loaded first, whether the top of the stack or the next element. So, always the top of the stack will be retrieved first, and that will be first stored in the lower order register, that is C. Then the second one will be stored in B. So, these are the two instructions. Similarly, there are some instructions available under the stack operation, and last one is the control instructions. What are the machine control instructions? I think already I have told you. One very important and popular instruction is halt, HLT, and there is another instruction also called no operation. No, the operation will not take place, but it will take some time, which is also important for us. So, no operation, and another instruction is EI and DI. EI stands for enable interrupt. Unless you execute this instruction, whatever the interrupt comes to microprocessor 8085 will not be taken into consideration. So, first instruction to allow the interrupt, to enable the interrupt to come into microprocessor, we have to use EI. It does not have any operand, but you have to write it. And whenever the interrupt service is over, you must end it with a DI, so that you can allow for other interrupt service to come. So, EI followed by DI, and we shall see how EI and DI can be used to serve various types of interrupts. For example, I want to serially transfer the data from microprocessor to some device, then I can use one interrupt, and before that I can use EI. So, these are all instruction sets. So, the next class will go to the instruction timing diagram, then I think we will be in comfortable position to start writing the programs in 8085 assembly language.